How? Fuck did this happen? Life could be worse. This doesn't suck. Well, hello everyone. My name is Rory with Sun-Kissed Goofbox, and that is going to be the topic of today's video, my Sun-Kissed Goofbox, my 2005 chrome orange Lotus Elise. I bought the car off of eBay back in October. I think it was Doug DeMuro or somebody else who said, the best way to sell Lotus is to try to convince someone that they don't want a Lotus. I'm gonna fucking kill myself now. It has been hailing, fucking raining like hell, it's cold as shit. And this was something that I hadn't really thought about very much, to be completely honest with you. I think the Lotus is almost the ideal automobile, right? For somebody my age in college who, is fortunate but doesn't have like completely unlimited funds. It's a stick shift. I've missed having a stick shift since my first car, which I bought when I was 16 for $364 with my own hard-earned money. Lotus Elise engine could probably replace it for less than $4,000 or $5,000. It's a goofy, fun, sporty looking car, right? It's got a supercharged inline 4. It's relatively reliable. I found the car on eBay and people had bet like 25 grand. This guy in Chicago, he's a Lotus collector, I guess you could say. He's had a couple of them. He has some other cars like Alfa Romeos, Dodge Viper. I just started messaging him. And I'm just sort of playing around at first because I hadn't really thought about buying a Lotus. I'd seen a Lotus when I was 11 or 12 years old in upstate New York with a family friend. It was actually basically identically spec'd to the one that I ended up buying. I have looked at Lotuses for a long time. I've also looked at Lamborghinis, McLarens, Ferraris, Bugattis, cars that I totally can't afford. I thought that like a Lotus might be on the table someday, but I didn't think I was buying one when I was in college. Still, I didn't think I was going to buy my Elise this October, right? But I'd just been messaging this guy. I just started making offers. I wouldn't say I was lowballing. I just was making offers that I could afford, right? On this car. That was amazing. He basically agrees to this price that actually is somewhat, within my means. Like, once I decided to buy the car and I had the money, I flew out to Chicago, to Midway Airport to meet with the owner, and he picked me up and he gave me a ride, and it was just super awesome. Should I hop in here? Yeah. Perfect. All right. Oh, how's this little guy? Oh, there we go. Yeah, no, that's perfect. All right, there we go. Yeah, this is a me-sized car. Yeah, I'm gonna give you the money the next day. We'll go to the credit union. So the next day, we go to the credit union or get prepared to go to the credit union. Maybe one of us Googles it or something. I can't remember specifically how this goes down, but we find out that the credit unions are all closed for Columbus Day. I had an exam coming up. I had an organic chemistry exam coming up, so I was kind of stressed. Basically, I ended up spending way more time out here in Chicago than I expect, right? Finally, after the credit union opens back up, we do a wire transfer. We make a bill of sale and all this stuff before this. He agrees to ship me the title, I think. Yeah, because he needed to get it from the credit union or something, and I wanted to get back to school because I have to get studying for these exams. This is one of the hardest classes I've ever taken in my life. And so I drive back. beautiful drive. It's just amazing. So driving back from Chicago, I decided to pivot towards Cleveland. This ends up being a terrible idea, as you can see. And so we're ripping it, we're just cruising, me and my friend, and all of a sudden there's a thwack, right? Super loud. My friend looks out the window and he's like, oh shit. And the mirror is just totally fucking shattered. It's just gone. So we get out of the car and we try to look for like the parts of the mirror. And it's not just the glass, it's like back of the mirror, the shell is destroyed. What happened was there's a stick, because I thought that we maybe hit a car or something. And I was like, no way, my stupid damaged this car the first day I got it right. Nope, literally a stick went back and there's nothing else there. There's no cars inside, there was nothing. I mean, I have no idea what happened. And there was like a stick that was broken.
Fragments of the mirror shattered around it, and it seems like this, because it was windy and wet out, the stick just had fallen out of sky and it hit the car, hit the mirror and destroyed it, and thankfully it didn't hit another part of the car.
And I will admit to you when I do something wrong myself, right? Like there's something a little stupid I do later, but this wasn't my fault. This was dumb. This was just like a literal stick fell out of a tree and smacked my mirror, and the car's fragile, and so that happened. And could have kind of happened with any other car, although probably wouldn't have like totally shattered the mirror like that. But whatever, the Lotus mirrors are not too expensive to replace. Although the mirrors I ended up getting were because I misplaced the Alibaba mirrors that I ordered
without opening the box, and then I thought they just never came, so I got frustrated.
I ordered these carbon fiber mirrors. I get back to Pittsburgh. I just let the car chill for a little bit. I make like I like tape on like a makeshift like piece of glass into like what's left of the mirror. We're gonna have like a little cars and coffee drive, right? Because it's one of the last cars and coffee of the year. I've got a friend with a Lamborghini and another friend who just got a new 911, as well as some other friends who had agreed to go. Jaden. Stick on the nutstick. So we meet up for cars and coffee and we just drive there. One of our friends who had a Corvette C8. I'm not driving it that fast because I've already had this stupid incident with the mirror, right? Like I'm not risking anything. And the car is not as fast as those cars. One of the reasons I bought the Lotus was that, it's a car that you can have a lot of fun in without breaking the law, which you can't necessarily say for certain other super high performance cars. The engines are almost kind of pushing you to get up there into the triple digits. So I'm following them, one of my other friends in the car, who's filming, and those cars just go way up. We can't see them. All of a sudden, way up in the distance, we see some chaos. We eventually reach them, and the Lamborghini and the Corvette are pulled over. Turns out that somebody had, dipped into the Corvette's lane and brake checked them. That got me kind of paranoid, right, about like my car. So I took it easy the rest of the way there. We went to Cars and Coffee. It was great.
Here, just got in my new Lamborghini, okay? But you guys know what I really value?
And then me and my friends went on a really beautiful trip with the car to West Virginia. Again, this is all with like the makeshift mirror, right? But it's a mirror, I can see out of it. It's just kind of, it's electric taped on there.
It's gonna be the new Wall Street. Fucking idyllic spot.
The fucking Zen.
We come back from West Virginia. I just kind of like, just drive the car around town a little bit. And I finally get around to fixing the mirror. Me and my friend in his garage, where, he's a real mechanically minded individual. So we just take, we do all the work that we can on the car, just with, in his garage. My friend Matt, shout out to Matt. I drive the car around a bit. Then I organized a little meetup. A friend, who had just got a new Ferrari F8, business student, real lucky guy. And another friend who had the Lambo, who traded in for a McLaren 600 LT, which you'll definitely, see in some of my videos and stuff. He's a real cool dude, but that car is wild. As well as some other friends, we get like a big group together, like 10 guys. We all decide to go to this little meeting spot that we always go to by this big old observatory. We call it Observatory Hill. And so we go up there and we drive, and it's a really great time. We just chill. People chat. There's a lot of like international students just like smoking Chinese cigs over there. I mean, had no issues all the way back into the city, and then I'm just going through this little tunnel, and it's a little cold out. So I didn't realize how sensitive the material on my tires were. This is me being a little stupid, because I've owned cars and I've driven, a stick shift, and I've done all these things on like cars, but I've never really driven performance cars, because I'm 21. I haven't had that much time or much of a chance to drive cars like that, and the only way you really learn is by driving them, right? And I wasn't sending it or being super stupid. Kind of zipped through this little tunnel, and it's a little shorter than I expect. And I go on the brakes, and my tires just kind of slide. And there's this big piece of concrete, this big like boulder that I think was just left over from construction or something that we smack up against. And so we get out of the car, and there doesn't look to be any damage, so we just drive off. But later I realized that my rim has been cracked because I took it over to ORE in the East End to get some parts for my Lotus, just like a cup holder and stuff. Those guys are really great, on Rails Engineering. They point out that, you know, there's a very thin but noticeable crack on my passenger side rear wheel. And so, you know, I'm like a little distraught. I just don't drive the car for a little bit because I'm super busy with school at this point. I eventually just order a new rim from California, and it just perfectly matches the car. I was really lucky. I just found a rim. It was like $500, which sucked, but, you know, not the end of the world, right? What my friend wants to take, you know, he offers to give me a ride in his new McLaren after I get the wheel fixed. We go up the Observatory Hill again, right? And everything's great, you know. I haven't driven the car for a little while. I finally get this new wheel on it, whatever. I park the car, and I do leave the headlights on, but maybe for, you know, 5 minutes, right? And he gives me a little ride. Car shoots flames. It's super cool.
Whoa!
We get back to the Lotus, and the car is just completely dead. And so I'll play for you guys some comical footage of us trying to push and, you know, jumpstart the car, do all this crazy stuff, you know, up and down the hill. We try to like put it into second gear and turn the key, you know, and the car's also, by the way, super low on gas because I'm an idiot. There's no gas stations close to there, so I just figured I'll fill it up on the way back, whatever. So, car dies. I decide to go home because it's super late, and we try until like 2:33 a.m., but I have another OChem exam coming up, right? And so I don't want to pull an all-nighter, which is what that would have been if I just, you know, decided to get a tow truck to come that, you know, at that time. And the car's windows were open, and it was you know, I just parked on the side of a road in a park, but it's a place where you can park a car. Not like ideally, but, you know, it worked. It was like not in the way of anything. Turns out a bunch of people freak out, right? Like they see this Lotus parked on the side of the road, the windows open, and it rained a little bit, and I covered like the one window with a towel, so it looked kind of stupid. People freak out, and the police get involved, and they call me, and I tell them, no, I'm coming to get the car. It's fine, just like leave it there. You know, I'm gonna get a tow truck. I literally just could not afford to pull an all-nighter this night, right? Because I have exams coming up in a couple days, and I already shouldn't have gone out, but it's kind of tempting, right? Like your friend gets a McLaren and you want to go send it. We just went out, we, you know, just drove the card, and I paid the damn price. So the police like end up going and like knocking on my parents' door and like freaking my parents out and shit that my car's been stolen, which it hasn't, it's fine. So I just fucking get out of bed and I go back and I go and get the damn car and I get it towed to foreign traffic in Allison Park. They take it for a couple of days, they fix the battery, they fix the windshield wiper also and stuff, which I'd forgotten to fix up until this point. They can't inspect the car, of course, because they've just put a new battery in it. And so I'm like, okay, well, I'll just take it somewhere else to get inspected. This is where shit gets really damned annoying. I forgot to mention that before I took it up to foreign traffic and right before we went to take the McLaren around, you know, that second time where my friend gave me a ride, someone hit and ran my car. So I had parked it on Forbes Avenue, pretty close to, you know, the main quad, because I was just visiting a friend on like a weekend night and just playing cards or whatever, like chilling. And I come back out and there's a note on my car that someone's, you know, I thought it was like a girl giving me her number or something. I thought it was like, so, you know, like I thought it was a hot shot with a cool car. It was a girl and she left her number, but it wasn't about that. It was that she'd watched someone hit and run the car and they cracked the front clam. That sucked. And I did drive it while the clam was cracked. And I filed a police report, and of course police don't do anything for a month and a half, and it's been a month and a half and still haven't gotten money from them. You know, it's not a huge deal, right? Like, even though it's a huge deal because it's a Lotus, it's also not a huge deal because it's a tiny crack. And I know that, you know, it's gonna suck to replace it. Whatever, I can drive the car like that for a little bit, right? It's not the end of the world. What happens then is because I couldn't inspect the car for traffic, I decide to take the car to Midas. Now remember, Midas had, I don't know if I mentioned this, but Midas was the ones that, you know, I had ordered the wheel and I asked them if I called them and I said, can you work on this car? And they're like, yes. I'm like, okay. And just keep in mind, yeah, you shouldn't take like your damn Lotus to Midas, right? That's stupid. That's common sense. there are no like nice auto shops, you know, or just like specialty auto shops within like the Pittsburgh city limits that I'm aware of, right? There's some German car shops. There's like the Mercedes dealership, which is where my friend told me I should have gotten inspected, but I thought that would be expensive. Turns out it wouldn't have been that expensive, and I was dumb. Anyway, I take it to Midas, right? Because like they just need to put a wheel on it. So they did that, and that was great. And then this time I take my car to Midas, and I just want to get an inspection. Problems that doing an inspection on a car requires putting it on a lift. And these guys are like, they don't know, I don't think, how to properly drive a manual, and they also don't know how to put the Lotus on a lift properly. I didn't really think about that. I just think, okay, they just got to read the emissions, right? And blah blah blah. I've never worked in an auto shop, and I've never done my own inspection. I just thought that they like needed to look at the car and be like, yeah, this doesn't produce a ton of emissions, and it looks safe to drive, and go through the little checklist and blah blah blah. Well, no, it turns out, yeah, they put it on the lift, and they totally just destroy the side skirt on the driver's side. So now the car, otherwise I'd be filming this video in the car, because that'd be fun. I'm filming the video in my room because the car is at Innovative Auto Works in the North Hills. Shout out to them for being like one of the few people who take the job around here. They work on, the Pittsburgh Steelers cars. They work on all sorts of exotics and blah blah blah. They've worked on like over 10 Lotuses. It's in good hands, I have reason to believe, but it is kind of a massive pain, because I finally was hoping to get the car, just totally in pitch perfect shape, get it inspected, and then I plan to do mods, and I plan to do body work and blah blah blah, and fix that little crack, and go after the police to just get them to finish the damn investigation so I could get money from this guy who hit and ran my car, and I wouldn't have any information about it if it hadn't been for the witness who took a photo of their plate and was very kind and, super helpful. So yeah, that's the status of my car. There are like 2 big cracks on the body, none of which were my fault at all. I'll take responsibility for the wheel, but I quickly replaced the wheel, and it wasn't a big issue. It's not nearly as big of a deal as, replacing the bodywork on the Lotus, because believe it or not, the bodywork is actually the most expensive part of Lotus, right? Like Lotuses get totaled for cracked clamshells. They don't get totaled for, blowing a transmission or something, because like that's not that expensive, because it's Toyota. It's all Toyota. Most of the mechanical workings of the car are Toyota, which is pretty, I don't have any problem with that. Some people are like, oh, you have a Toyota engine. The car gets great gas mileage, by the way. It's like 25 city, 35 highway or something, just because the car's so light. It's like 2,000 something pounds. But yeah, basically, it has been a dream come true, and at the same time, a total disaster. This is 3 months of ownership, right? Like, I don't know how much it's gonna cost. I'm luckily in a position where I'm not gonna like lose anything or really suffer because of it, but it's not. And Midas is gonna cover the damages, and that's, I mean, bare minimum, because they're the ones who damaged the car. I'm a little bit tired. I would like to just be able to use my car and, do the fun stuff with it that I had in mind. And it's made me consider getting a daily driver and stuff, because, I walk a lot. I walk most days. I don't need to drive the car every day. I drive it I drive it a decent bit. I don't let the car sit for very long, because it's not good for the car, and I don't have like anywhere to plug it in or anything, or put a trickle dryer on it, in my apartment building garage here. But yeah, it's been a dream come true and a total disaster. That is the status of my Lotus Elise. So I want to thank you guys for watching. I'm going to put out a lot more Pittsburgh-based